Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the info session for Applied Digital Geography and GIS. We're going to get started shortly, just giving it 30 seconds for people to join in. I can see we've got some people trickling in right now. But thank you everyone for joining in your lunch hour on a Friday. We really appreciate it. I'm Mashur Chaudhry, the manager of recruitment sales at Bank School. And before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, the Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. I want to pay my respects to the Indigenous peoples, elders, and ancestors who stewarded and cared for nature and the people who lived on the land where TMU is located today. At the university, we've made a deep and long-lasting commitment to truth and reconciliation. I invite you to learn more about this work online. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or the presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You will have the opportunity to submit questions to our speakers by typing them into the question box of the control panel. And you may send in your questions anytime during the session. We will answer them at the end of the presentation portion. Now I'd like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Raymond Garrison, Academic Coordinator and Lecturer at the Chang School. Next, we have Bonnie Martins, Lecturer at the Chang School, and also, finally, Sean Rolifson, Environmental GIS Specialist at Ontario Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. And he's also a recent grad of the certificate. Now, we're really excited to have this amazing panel of speakers to share their insight. I now want to invite our academic coordinator and lecturer, Raymond Garrison, and industry expert at the Chang School, and also lecturer Bonnie Martins, to go over a brief overview of the certificate. Welcome, Raymond and Bonnie.
Thank you, Mashur. So, a few quick facts about the certificate. The delivery is online, and I'll say a little bit more about that in a few moments. It involves 6 courses. 2 are required and 4 electives, so lots of flexibility there with respect to electives, which I'll elaborate on in a moment. The length is generally 1 to 2 years. It is possible to complete the certificate within a year, but not every course is offered in every term. So that's why it could take you as long as 2 years, but it is possible to complete it in 1 year, and many people do. And the cost factors are there. It is a pay-per-course model. So when you enroll in a course, you pay at that time. But that's sort of the total cost there. So why learn GIS? Why is GIS important? Well, it's important because it's a great planning tool because everything's spatial. We want to know where things are and where they are relative to other things. So it's important to know not only what's happening, but also where it's happening in the world. So GIS, as it says here, allows you to layer data on interactive maps so you get a visual impression of the interrelationships among variables in a specific area. For example, if we look at the location of vaccination clinics during the COVID-19 pandemic, and we look at vaccination rates, and we map those two and look at correlations, we may find that we either need more clinics in a certain area, or the clinics need longer hours. Maybe they need to be 24 hours in order to raise those vaccination rates. But you can put those 2 pieces of data, and many others as well, together and try to get some sort of understanding of where you should cite the vaccination clinics, and as well the rates of vaccination. So that's just one example. Bonnie will give you many, many more as we move forward. GIS analysis can feed directly into decision-making processes and the development of policy response options. So immediate decisions, but also for broader policy. Next slide, please. So industry trends and career paths. These are some of the types of occupations that you can become engaged in once you have completed the certificate: decision support analyst and specialist, GIS analyst, specialist, technician, or researcher, location analyst, research analyst, spatial database technician and analyst, geospatial data scientist, and crime analyst, crime intelligence analyst. So these are some of the different career paths. Again, Bonnie will say a little bit more about that. Next slide, please. So what you'll learn with us. So this is a university-based certificate program, and it provides, as it says here, advanced data interpretation and analytical skills, offering a competitive edge over programs focused solely on mapping. So you're not just learning how to generate maps and creating indicators of spatial relationships among variables, but you're also doing some interpretation, some analysis, presenting those this analysis, and so forth. And as Bonnie will talk about, you're building a portfolio of work as you progress through the courses. Graduates will be equipped to produce GIS-based analysis that can directly inform decision-making and policy development. You'll gain in-demand skills for the job market by mastering the latest industry standard GIS software like ArcGIS Pro, QGIS, both of which Bonnie uses in the introductory course to the certificate, CODG 101, and ArcGIS Online as well. So these are the industry-leading software packages, and we update our courses on a continuous basis to make sure that we're providing knowledge of these various software packages that relate to what's being used in the market today. And there's also opportunities to customize GIS tools using Python. Python is something that is a valuable skill to have. We have CODG 132, which teaches that. It's not a mandatory course, but it's one of the optional skills-based courses that you could take. You develop expertise in data management and working with very large data sets. And they're real-world data sets, and you develop creative solutions. So it's an opportunity to be very creative in how you approach various issues. And you will be in various courses presenting your findings in various ways. So it'll enhance your presentation skills, and you'll be collaborating with fellow students as well. So those skills will also be enhanced by taking the certificate. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to pass it over to Bonnie to talk about a few things related to the certificate.
Great. Thanks, Raymond. So I just want to jump in first and explain that I'm not only an instructor. I teach the 101. I teach the very first course that you'll probably take. But I also teach the social and community GIS, which is CODG 127. So that's one of the electives. But as well, I am a former student. I took this exact same program many, many years ago. So I know how it impacted my career. And as well, I have worked in the industry now. I've worked in GIS for 35 years. So it's been a very, very long time. I had my first job in 1989 working in GIS. So it's been a very, very long time. So, in this course, you will definitely gain some practical skills for real world problems. The certificate demonstrates mastery of GIS software and tools. So like I said, I took this course many, many years ago, this certificate program, and knowing that I was even enrolled in these programs or in these courses, I was able to advance my career. So this was the foundation of where I am today. So, now I'm teaching, and I've got this, decades long career from taking these courses. So it's been a great stepping stone for me. As well, we get into data visualization and spatial analysis. One thing I want to point out that working in GIS every single day, people think that I make a map every single day. I don't necessarily. I use it as a tool. And these courses are going to show you, sure, how to make some great maps. My 101 course is it shows you how to make some great cartographic products, but as well, I'm going to teach you how to use it as a tool to pull out data, to pull out information from all of these data sets so that you can produce some wonderful products. And problem solving. So that's what we were just talking about there. Everybody talks about big data. This is big data. We are working with huge data sets. When I first started working in law enforcement, I spent 21 years working in law enforcement, and they thought their 911 calls were large data sets. It's like, I've worked with Census Canada data sets. Those ones are a lot larger and a lot more complex. So these are some of the skills that you'll gain from taking these courses. So next slide. So you can, with the certificate program, it really does help future-proof your skills. So you're going to learn definitely some specialized knowledge that you wouldn't gain elsewhere. So it really does help set you apart. I know that some of the people that I have taught in the past and who are now hiring managers, they know what you learn in this course or in these courses in the certificate program. And they know that if you are a Toronto Metropolitan University graduate from this certificate program, what skills you're going to have. And they know that what kind of employee that you are going to be, because you're going to come in with a skill set. So it's definitely advantageous. And interdisciplinary relevance. So we update our courses all the time. So the 101 course, we don't really touch on some of the things like I've got here, the AI and Internet of Things and big data, because we're just jamming in so much information into the 101. But in the 127 course, the more advanced courses, your electives, we do go into learning more about how AI is used in GIS and how, of course, like I said, big data. It is big data. It's just the spatial side of it, right? That a lot of people don't even think of. And in fact, that will actually help set you apart because you're learning a lot of the same things that the big data students will be learning, but you're learning about the spatial side of it, right? So that does actually give you a bit of an edge on some other students or some other candidates, employees that are looking for jobs, right? And adaptability. So these certificate programs, they end up helping you pivot into different fields. So I hadn't worked in law enforcement at all. This wasn't my thing at all. But because I ended up having this certificate and my boss was or supervisor at the time was actually from this school. She knew what kind of courses I would have taken and what kind of employee I was going to be. And I ended up working or getting hired on in law enforcement and became a geospatial intelligence analyst for 21 years. So and then so doing all the mapping for Peel Police, Durham Police, and the RCMP. So it's been a great career, and not a lot of people have this background. And so I end up getting picked for a lot of projects that a lot of people get passed over for. And my resume gets plucked from one pile and placed on top of another pile because they know that I have the skill set. So next slide. So portfolio development. This is something really important that I don't think a lot of people think about. When I go into job interviews, I have a series of projects that I've completed, and it's evidence, right? It's tangible evidence of yeah, I know how to do this. Look, see, I've got all these projects here, and to be able to hand that over during during an interview or later if you're working on a project and saying, no, I've already done this. Look, see, it's great to have all of this information available. Credential validation, yeah. So signals to employers that you've completed formal training, and that ties into the employer confidence that we discussed, that I know that Toronto Metropolitan University grads hire Toronto Metropolitan University students. So when they're going through the program, and again, just to say that this program, I believe in this program. I'm very happy when the students come through it, and I'm always there for people even after people have graduated. You know, you can always come back, you can come and talk to me, and I'll help you. I've gotten people into grad school, right? I've gotten, you know, people ask me for references for employment. I'm always there. I keep all of your projects. I still have Sean's gonna talk. I still have the first map that Sean ever produced for us. So I should show that, and then you can talk about all the wonderful things that you've done. So yeah. So anyway, I hopefully all of you will come, and you'll enroll, and I'll be happy to meet you all in one-on-one. So.
Okay, so once you complete the certificate, as Bonnie has indicated, you'll be very much job ready with not only the skills, but knowledge in various substantive areas where you can apply those skills. And as I said earlier, there's opportunities for collaboration and networking among fellow students who are, some of them are already working in an environment where GIS skills will just enhance their job, but they're already within an office environment. And also, our instructors are industry professionals as well, so you'll interact with them. And we do have, when you're enrolled as a student, you have access to the TMU Career Co-op and Student Success Center, which will assist you with job placement as well. And their website link is there. Next slide, please. So who should take this certificate? Well, those looking to upgrade their skills or make a career change, recent university graduates starting out in the GIS industry, those new to Canada looking to build a new career. And I want to highlight that no prior experience with GIS or statistics is required to take this certificate. You, of course, have to have some computer skills. You have to know how to use your computer and so forth. But there's no experience required. And Bonnie's CODG 101 walks you through steps as you build those skills gradually. So I just want to point that out. Next slide, please. So how's the certificate course structured? I'm briefly going to say this in the next slide. It's designed to be completed around your schedule, part-time. It's a blend of synchronous and asynchronous components. A lot of it is done. There are weekly deadlines, little weekly assignments and so forth. But where you do it within the week, fit it in your day, is up to you. A lot of it is asynchronous for the majority of the courses. And the software, basically, you access the software through TMU's state-of-the-art virtual desktop. So it'll run on any type of computer system, okay? And as I said earlier, there's 2 required and 4 elective courses. I'll say more about that on the next slide. And you can take up to 4 years to complete the certificate. As I said earlier, generally you complete it in 1 year or even 4 terms. That's a year and a third. But if something comes up, you take COGG 101 in the winter term and you don't want to take anything in the summer and fall, you can come back the following winter term and take another course. So you have 4 years in order to do it. So that is 12 terms, okay, to do the 6 courses. And if you're not sure if this is really for you, you can also take CODG 101 or 102 as a standalone course. Try it out first and see how you like it, and then enroll in the certificate at a later time. Next slide, please. And one of the hallmarks of this certificate that I find really exciting is you do have the first 2 required courses, but there's so many options to tailor the program to suit your needs. So we have two sets of courses here. We have professional applications and skills development. In the professional applications, you're required to take one or two, and skills development, if you can take two or three. If you've only taken one professional application, you can take three skills development. It's like that. So, for example, if you're working in a city environment, municipal environment, maybe you want municipal applications and utilities planning, or maybe municipal applications in business. I know there are some synergies between environmental management and community and social services, Bonnie's course. And then the skills development. The first one is the Python course I mentioned, image processing and applications, web mapping, web algebra, and then spatial database management, which is really, really important to learn how to manage large-scale databases. And we also have spatial statistical methods. So you need to take at least two in each, or maybe in each of these categories as your electives. So that'll make the 4, or 1 in the professional applications and 3 in the skills development. Next slide, please. So the program highlights, again, the entire certificate is online. It has a series, each course has a series of hands-on activities and assignments that guide you through, walk you through step by step. And usually every course has a major assignment at the end. All of our instructors, like Bonnie, are highly motivated, experienced industry professionals and academic leaders in GIS, and they'll guide you every step of the way. And it does offer the theoretical education and practical training you need for a successful career as a GIS professional. You'll not only be, as Bonnie said, mapping things, but you'll also be involved in decision-making processes. You'll be very analytical in this course. And I think that's one of the things that sets this program apart. Next slide, please. So that's it for me for now.
Thank you so much, Raymond and Bonnie, for sharing that overview. I really enjoyed how it's a multi-sectoral approach and how hands-on we are with big data and real world scenarios, but then also the job readiness and the competitive edge that you spoke about, right? I think that's really interesting and intriguing for our listeners. Really exciting stuff. Now it's my pleasure to introduce one of our students of the certificate, an environmental GIS specialist at Ontario Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, Sean Rolifson. Sean will share his experience in the course and his journey with us. Welcome, Sean.
Great, thanks, Meshwer. I'll just jump right into it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sean Rolifson, and I'm a 2022 graduate of the TMU Applied Digital Geography and GIS certificate. I did complete the certificate in 16 months. I did have the time and the freedom to do so, so I'm lucky to have completed it in that short time frame. I wanted to take a quick thanks for everyone for listening and the opportunity to share my journey and insights regarding my experience as a relatively recent student and graduate. If I happen to use Ryerson interchangeably, it was Ryerson in the time, so I'll either say TMU or Ryerson, but I'll try to stick to TMU. So at the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic, I decided to turn a challenging time. I did have lots of time on my hands. Everything was in full lockdown. I decided to turn it into an opportunity for growth by enrolling in the GIS certificate at TMU. That decision marked the beginning of my continuous education journey that has introduced me to the power of spatial analysis and innovative technology. GIS was always my first love. I graduated from University of Guelph about 20 years ago with a degree in environmental protection. So it had been a long time since I'd been in school, but GIS was always that itch that I needed to scratch. It was always my first love. So I enrolled, and the online delivery and the flexible course structure of the certificate was perfect for me as a working professional. I was able to jump right in. And I thank myself all the time. I say that 2024 and future Sean thanks 2022 Sean and 2020 Sean for making that jump. And GIS lends itself perfectly to this type of education system. The online delivery and the asynchronous nature is perfect for GIS. And from there, I dove deeper into GIS related learning and data science with machine learning, artificial intelligence, and continuously building on that solid foundation created by the TMU GIS certificate. Looking back, it was the pivotal moment for sure, enrolling in the certificate and taking that leap. Since then, I've never stopped learning, and it's been incredibly rewarding. I wish I could demo some of the things I've created, but another time for sure. And again, I always thank myself for taking that plunge. Right now, I've been with the Ministry of Environment for 20 years, and I'm currently the currently the environmental GIS specialist for West Central Region, working out of the Hamilton office, handling a large area of Guelph District, Niagara District, Hamilton District. So a very large area, very large population with lots of heavy industry concerns, farming concerns. And I love my job. I say that I truly love my job. I'm always doing, Bonnie can attest to that. I'm always sending her stuff that I've done, and after hours, midnights, weekends. It's always on my brain. So I'm lucky to be able to nerd out and really love that part of my job. And over the last few years, I've witnessed fascinating innovation in GIS, transforming the way we analyze, visualize, and make decisions about our world. It's no longer paper maps, like Bonnie said. I always refer to GIS as data science with the added complexity of location and time, which is kind of what Raymond and Bonnie both said. You're adding in the much more difficult aspect of the geospatial aspect of things. And to any prospective GIS student, I would say it's an incredibly dynamic field. Whether you're interested in climate change, urban planning, infrastructure and asset management, humanitarian efforts, forest health mapping, endangered species protection, the list goes on, hundreds and thousands of topics. GIS is the gateway to developing extremely valuable and marketable skills and making a real impact. The skills are not only make you versatile, but also place you at the forefront of innovation in any industry. Like Bonnie said, you'll be the go-to person for almost every project with the knowledge you have. And so you're really just equipping yourself for the future, and I can attest to that. So my last thing I'll say is thanks for listening, but truly take the time and effort to invest in the basics and the bedrock skills first. And these are absolutely provided by enrolling and excelling in the TMU GIS certificate. Once you get that bedrock foundation, you learn the foundational skills, and then your continuous learning journey may take you anywhere. And I'm sort of proof positive of that. And I hope to see you out there, wherever that may be. And thanks for listening, and happy to take any questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Sean. That was inspiring. I'll be honest with you. It's stories like this is why we do what we do. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm glad you took that decision during that time to just go ahead and take that certificate. And like Raymond touched earlier, right? If you're not sure, just take a couple of courses and know, right, what it's all about. And maybe you can it'll help you take a decision after that.
Absolutely.
With that, that'll end our portion for guest speakers' presentations, and we'll now open the floor to everyone for Q&A. I'll invite everyone to go ahead and start putting your questions in the Q&A box. We do have a couple of questions that I have come in already, so I'll go ahead and start. The first one is from Golnaz. Thank you so much for your question. Does a person with GIS certificate have the same job opportunities as a person with a master's in urban planning? So yeah, maybe Bonnie, you can start that, and then Raymond, you can add into that.
So the thing is that this is a certificate program that is going to offer you a unique skill set. Okay, so it's not a master's degree. I honestly think that they go hand in hand, right? So the master's degree is going to teach you a totally different skill set. I have in my program, in my 101 classes, I have actually several people who have master's degrees in a wide range of fields, but then they come to my classes, our classes, sorry. I think of 101 as just my class, but as they come to our program to learn these skill sets that the master's degree doesn't offer. Right, so it is like this added benefit. It's this little cherry on top that you would gain, right? So Raymond.
And I must say that we do have a lot of applicants and people who join the program who do have master's degrees. It's a layering. It's a skill set that can enhance the things that you do even with your master's degree. So people become employed in a certain place, and they just want this additional skill set. Even we have people enrolling who have PhDs. who are actually professors, and they want the skill set because it'll enhance their research. So it's different because, of course, a master's is broader in scope and so forth, and not so focused on specific skills. But it's definitely a package of skills that will help you if you do both together.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Bonnie and Raymond. Next question is from Nav Bharati. Does this include programming like Python, etc.?
We do have a course that does focus solely on Python programming, and it was just completely, it's always up to date, but we just did a full refresh of it about 2 terms ago. And the person teaching it has been teaching it for 25 years, so he's moved along with the software as the software has changed over time and the techniques have changed over time. And he's one of our top technical people at TMU, and he's the one who teaches the course, Mike McDonald. And it's CODG 132, and it is Python programming. And he will teach you how to automate various GIS processes in very unique ways. A lot of flexibility in the application of GIS software. Yes, we teach Python programming. Yes, over to Bonnie.
So I just wanted to say, again, as a little aside, when I took the course, it wasn't Python. It was Visual Basic for applications. And so the course title is Customizing GIS Applications. I never once used it to customize GIS application, but I did use all the skills I learned to create in Visual Basic a firearm database that Peel Police used for like 2 years. So again, it's these transferable skills that you may not even think of at the time, right? So it was kind of a cool moment for me to pull out the, hey, I learned this in Mike's class, right? So and to use this is pretty cool. Sean?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that the 132 class is extremely important. New, I guess, modern GIS is definitely, Python's very important. And the beauty of Python is that it is the go-to language for artificial intelligence, machine learning, all the different libraries and predictive modeling that goes on that you see with ChatGPT and all the large language models. That's all based in Python. So what you get out of this course in 132 could be a springboard into learning more about Python. It's extremely important, and that's kind of how I treated it. Really like Mike's course. He's clearly an expert, and just took it and really ran with it after that as well. I just wanted to add that.
No, thank you. Thanks for adding that. And it's actually good that we have you on the mic, Sean, because the next question, which is from Joshua, is for you. What was the process like with regard to searching for jobs? Was there a heavy focus on coursework and your abilities through the certificate? Or do you think it was your additional outside studying that you did, machine learning and etc., that helped you? Thank you so much.
Great question. So I wasn't looking for a job at the time. I was with the Ministry of Environment, like I said, for 20 years. I was happy with my current position. I just didn't, I had that itch that I needed to scratch. I always wanted to be in the GIS field. So looking in my particular case, I was looking for a specific job that came up with the ministry. But if you notice, most job boards for municipalities, businesses, private industry, nonprofits, they're constantly looking for any range of equal and similar job types, like data analyst, GIS analyst. You really have to set your search wide, because this program does offer skills in so many directions that don't just look for GIS. Sometimes that word is left out of job ads. So in my case, I wasn't currently looking, but I always try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on out there. And I can say that I've gotten interviews. I like to keep up with interviews, and I like to keep my skills sharp. And so I do take interviews with even though I love my job, I do interviews on something that seems interesting. And when I focus on the products I've created from the bedrock of these courses with the certificate, I like to link to demos, and very important to link to the actual things that you've created that you will create in the courses. I've never failed to get an interview for jobs that I've thought were really interesting. So a very, I think it's so I don't mean to drone on, but the question of how you apply for it really linked to your to actual demonstrations of what your skills would be and the skills that you will learn in the certificate. It's very important to have that. And like I said, have yet to fail to get an interview of a really interesting job based on really identifying these skills in my resume. So hopefully that helps and answers the question.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Thanks for that. We're getting a lot of questions with urban planning and from urban planners. So the first one is someone who has urban planning degree from outside of Canada, but is interested in GIS jobs and is wondering if they have the degree from outside of Canada, will this certificate be enough in the job hunt? Because they look for accredited degrees from accredited universities here. And then the next question about urban planner is someone who's never used Python or any coding languages, but they did use GIS. And how can this course be compatible for urban planners who don't have that Python and coding language? So two parts of that question.
Well, many people do enroll in the certificate program who have degrees from outside of Canada. It'll give you a skill set that is, as Bonnie and Sean have indicated, is a very marketable skill set. So you'll have the degree behind you, and certainly your degree will inform your engagement with the GIS, right? You'll be drawing upon the broader knowledge that you bring to the table when you're learning the courses. With respect to the job search, again, having a degree from outside of Canada and then having the certificate on top, the certificate, if you're looking for jobs in GIS, will lead the way into the job market, I would say. They'll see that you have the background degree, but if you're looking for a job in GIS, it's the certificate that will actually be the focus, I think, in the job market. Bonnie, do you want to comment on that, or Sean?
Sean, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree. The GIS, like having the background degree is, I think Raymond or Bonnie both mentioned, it's sort of a layering effect. It's either a foundational or a layering effect. It's both. I kind of used it as both. I already had a degree, but I also used it as a foundation. So layering on top or jumping off, they both apply. We actually, in the Ministry of Environment, we do have planners. They're always coming to us. So they're always coming to us because they don't have the GIS specifics and they need to get into ArcGIS Pro or do something with a map that only we can do. And like Bonnie said, we become the go-to person for almost every project. And I've had that. We constantly get calls from people that say, I know a guy that can do this. And it's the GIS skills that do that.
So this is a good thing and a bad thing, right, Sean?
Yeah, thankfully.
You're the go-to person. Yeah.
Thankfully, I love it. So it's great, but you become the go-to, so you got to be ready. And it's pros and cons, obviously, but mostly pros.
Yeah.
So with respect to Python skills and being a planner, you don't necessarily have to have the Python skills. It's just a good thing to have. You have a number of different options with respect to the skills that you can, skill-based courses that you can take. As I said, you can take up to 3 different skills-based courses, one of which could be Python programming. But if you do choose to take it, Michael's course does walk you through step by step. If you've never done coding in your life, that's what they're assuming. You have never done coding in your life. And he literally walks you step by step, and there's little self-tests in each module and so forth to make sure you're on the right page. And he's always there to consult with, right? So that you can clarify things as you move along.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think there's overlap with urban planning and GIS, and thank you for sharing how we can sort of go in both directions if you want. Next question is about the tools. I know we've mentioned ArcGIS Pro and QGIS before, but someone's asking, in the spatial database management, does the curriculum focus solely on ArcGIS SDE, or does it also include other database management systems such as Oracle, and post GRE SQL. Additionally, are there any database management tools like FME included in the program? So lots of acronyms there, but I'm sure we can answer that.
So Raymond, I don't know anything about the other courses. I only know about my 2 courses that I teach, and I find that the students, that it's enough just to teach them what I'm teaching. But do the other courses teach FME? And
I don't believe so. The instructor for that course, again, has been doing it for a very, very long time, but he does focus on the software that we've used throughout the degree. But he's knowledgeable enough to answer any questions about any interconnections between what he's teaching and these other software packages and how they might relate to one another. He does have a very broad knowledge in database management.
John, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do remember the database course, and it was key, and I believe it's Mike as well, and he has that expert knowledge. And the beauty of a relational database, the way the database is set up is pretty much the same across different products. So you get a really good base of what is a relational database, the foundational knowledge, and then that can apply to all the different products that are out there. So that's what I found. It was that get that foundational knowledge and then apply it to PostgreSQL, and I use SQLite a lot. But that knowledge is all the same, and it transfers, the SQL transfers across all the different products. So I can definitely say that.
Okay, so I'm going to combine these 2 questions sort of. Someone has been in the GIS, who has a degree in GIS, but their career took them away from the field. Sort of take this as a refresher to get back into the GIS field. And also, you know, someone who has no prior experience in GIS, but a strong interest in data analysis and wants to know if this would be a good program for them.
Oh, most definitely it would be a good program for someone who has absolutely no experience. It does walk you through, particularly in Bonnie's course and COGG 101 and also 102, will give you a really good, solid background in order to engage in the more advanced courses. The 2 lists that I showed you require those 2 courses before you can take anything on those lists. So it's very, very elementary. Now, for the person who already has a certificate or degree in GIS, there is an option to apply for transfer credits through TMU for generally for COGG 101 and 102, the 2 entry-level courses. If you've done something equivalent, you can always apply for a transfer credit for particular courses. It'll be assessed, and if it's approved, then you only need to do 4 courses in order to get the certificate. So that option is there for someone who already has a background in GIS. Of course, if you've taken your degree in GIS many, many years ago, you may still want to take 101, 102. I had a student the other day wanting to do that because the software has changed and things are so dynamic in the field and moving forward. And even though a course may seem equivalent, I know that in 101, Bonnie covers such a wide diversity of real world databases, right? So I think it is still very, very valuable as a refresher to still take 101 and 102, but the option of applying for transfer credits is there.
can I just say as well, Raymond, that that's actually why I took the program myself. So back in the day, I took my undergraduate was in geography, and I'd been working in the field for a few years, and the technology changed. And all of a sudden, you know, we're going from ARC map 3.1, dating myself, you know, to 9.1, where it was basically the difference between all of a sudden we're working in a Windows environment. It was like going from DOS to Windows. And I needed to know now which buttons to press, right? Like I had the theory, I had the strong theory, but I didn't have any of the recent knowledge. And that's why I enrolled myself in the program. And it really did help tremendously. And I just wanted to say to Sean as well, maybe you could talk about your experience, your short-lived experience with how did this program help you get into a school that you didn't end up going to, but with transfer credits? So
Oh, right. Yes, I can touch on that for sure.
yeah.
Bonnie ended up being a reference for me, a very great reference to get into a master's program with Vancouver Island University. Unfortunately, the program was actually canceled almost just after I enrolled due to budget cuts. So if you read the news, Vancouver Island University was going through some pretty major budget and program cuts, and unfortunately, I was part of that, but got in. Bonnie was a great reference, and the certificate was the basis for my application. So, and I also got, sorry, I forgot to mention this, I got advanced standing. So it was a 2-year master's program, and this certificate gave me advanced standing into 2nd year direct. So I was very excited about it. It's unfortunate that it fell to budget cuts, which is, it was online, it was from BC, and that's unfortunate. And I'm still not really over that because I was really excited about it. But the beauty of it is that this gave me advanced standing. I would have been able to skip an entire year of a master's program based on this certificate. And I was very excited about it. I'm not out of the game. When I see an equivalent certificate out or master's program out there, I'll probably jump in. But you've probably heard on the news, there's lots of different issues with, Canadian budget cuts, and different universities are struggling, but GIS is a core. It's such a core technology. And I wanted to mention real quick that I was so lucky actually to jump in 2020 rather than when I graduated in 2002 from Guelph. The things have changed wildly. Like Bonnie said, it's the space is innovating so rapidly that I'm almost thankful that I got in a bit later. The course, the certificate stays up to date on all of the newest innovations, and it's changed so wildly. It's actually exciting to be a part of. Between the machine learning, it's all built into ArcGIS Pro, QGIS. It's just really, really exciting time to be part of it, and to jump in now is kind of like get on the wave and sort of ride that through. And maybe 20 years ago, almost nothing is probably the same in GIS, and that's the best part about it, is innovation and how it applies to the real world.
Great, thank you for sharing that, Bonnie and Sean and Raymond as well. No, I know we're a couple of minutes over time, so we will take just the 2 last remaining questions. So I'll go with the question from Andre first, and then we'll finish off with the question for Sean. So the question from Andre is, how does the program stand with regard to recent technologies in the GIS fields like drone acquisition of data, advanced remote sensing, LIDAR photogrammetry? I think I got that right. So maybe Bonnie and Raymond can touch on that, and then we can finish off with someone wants to know what type of work do you do now, Sean, and what type of projects were you working on before the program? So we'll start with the recent technology for drone acquisition data and remote sensing, and then we'll finish off with Sean's projects.
Bonnie, do you want to say something about the drone acquisition or?
Yep. So in 127, I am for because it only runs once a year. So that's what Raymond was saying, that depending on when you first start, that the courses may not be available for you to finish in 1 year. So my other course, 127, it only runs once a year, and I do give students in the summertime. In the starts in May, I think it is, and students do have an option of using a data set that I obtained from drone footage, right? So that people can map that information out. Again, the 2 courses that I teach, they're pretty jam-packed, so we haven't added a lot of those other data sets, but I am open to adding them. I mean, if we can find one that is, because 101, it's a 101 course, right? So we go through the very basic steps to get you up and running. And right now we're using a lot of census data, but again, we could at it. I mean, that is totally open to that, but I don't know what the other courses have, Raymond, in if they're using like remote sensing and stuff like that.
I believe one of our courses does use remote sensing data. Off the top of my head, I don't recall which one that is. But if you have any interests when you're taking a course that are related to the particular course, but sort of outside the curriculum, you can always speak with the instructor, and they can give you some, sometimes they can give you some additional information, or as Bonnie is saying, she gives it the drone data analysis as an option. So if you're particularly interested in that, sometimes there's some options within the course that will engage you with these other softwares and these other techniques and data sets.
Sean?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. So it's relevant. I actually fly a drone for my position. So as an environmental specialist, part of my responsibility is I do fly the regional drone. So we have a large commercial drone and a smaller drone as well. So all that foundational knowledge you get from the certificate. Chris Scarpone's course as part of the advanced certificate, but it can actually be taken as part of the this certificate as well. He has a lot of LiDAR data sets, and he did a really neat project on the effect of bird feces on trees in Toronto's waterfront, and how the acidity of the feces was killing the trees. So he did a LiDAR study, and he uses that his own data set from his own master's program. So that was really exciting. And I do fly a drone. I learned the foundational skills here, and I get a call from my colleagues and say, can you do a drone flight over this property? Here's what I need. And then I work out the details, and again, become the go-to person. That's kind of part of, it's only a small part of my job, but it is part of my role. And then that data is used to go on and do compliance and long-term studies and stuff like that. So it's very exciting.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers for sharing and answering these questions today. I want to thank you for taking the time to join this session, to all of our attendees as well. If you're interested in learning more about the certificate presented today, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. And if you have any other questions, you can contact me at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca again. The contact information is in the control panel, and you'll also receive a follow-up email with this information, the recorded session, and as well a survey within 24 to 48 hours. On behalf of the Chang School and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of the day.